the images often, they look very clumsy, and students don't get interest. So at least here, yeah. So we reached till this point, right? Last day, this line we did last. Now what we will do, we will just expand e to the power minus I k x1 using Euler's formula. That is, e to the power I theta is cos theta plus I sin theta. E to the power minus I theta is cos theta minus I sin theta. The second formula will be applied. So you can see the same thing I can do with the second exponent thing, e to the power minus I k x2. Next, what I will do, I will just multiply all the terms. I mean a1 with this, a2 with this, and I'll just separate out the cos and the sine terms. Okay. Is it clear what I have done here?
Yes, sir.
Now see this entire thing in the two things in the bracket, they look very large. So I'll just take this term in the first bracket as a, and the term in the second bracket I'll take as b. Okay. So with that substitution, I can get a relatively simpler term. E to the power I omega t was always there, and I will get a minus ib, where you can easily recognize this is a complex number. I hope you are familiar with this kind of notation of complex number, or this kind of representation of complex number, a plus ib or a minus ib, whatever. You know this is a complex number. Can you identify?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now, as I said, that every complex number can be represented by two things. Its amplitude, which is, if I have a complex number which is a to the power minus ib, the magnitude would be root over square of this term plus square of this term. That is root over a square plus minus b whole square, and minus b square is b square. So this is the amplitude part or magnitude part. And another part is the phase part, which is written as e to the power minus I phi, where phi is tan inverse b by a. Actually, this minus sign came because of minus b. So, see, this complicated term can be simplified like this, provided we do this substitution. Now, what we will do, we will just assume this thing in the bracket in under the square root as capital A. Another substitution, mind it. We have done two substitutions so far. One is this, A has been called, and B. Now we have again called for capital A, which is this thing. If we do that, then what we are left with, the next line would be capital A and e to the power I omega t minus I phi. So if I take I common, so easily I can write this as omega t minus phi. Same formula last day we saw, indices formula, x to the power m into x to the power n is equal to x to the power m plus n. So see, this is the resultant disturbance. Now you might be wondering, why did we do all the substitutions? So that, see, this disturbance looks kind of similar to these disturbances, isn't it? The form is similar. There is an amplitude and there is a phase part, e to the power I omega t minus phi. Fine, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now we are not happy, we are not interested with the amplitude that much. We are interested with the intensity. Now, can anyone tell me what is intensity of light? What is intensity of light? Anyone?
Don't remember, sir.
What does it tell us? I don't want the definition. What do we get from that?
So
So how much
amount
intense the light rays are?
Yes. Yes. And
like
Nirupan or Lachung, who is the another one? Yeah. Go ahead. Yes. Someone else was talking. Please go ahead.
the
Who was it?
amount of light
Yeah.
passing through some
Amount
surface.
of light passing through. I mean, I am asking
A
that
surface.
what do you mean if intensity is more or intensity is less? What does it imply? That I am asking.
So if intensity is more, then the light is more bright. It's
Exactly.
less bright.
It is concerned with brightness and darkness. And now what you two are also trying to say is intensity is dimensionally what? Intensity is not only for light. There are other things also which will have intensity. It is nothing. It is the amount of energy or energy per unit time or power flowing normally through a cross section. Dimensionally, it is actually this energy by time area. Okay, the power transferred per unit area. You are talking about amount of light passing. That is, it's a form of energy. More the intensity. That is, suppose I have a given cross section. So how much is the power through this? That will give me the idea of the intensity. Exactly. Here we are concerned with the brightness thing of the fringes. Now see, intensity is actually proportional to the square of the amplitude. I told you last day. Okay. So you know, if we remove the proportionality sign, we have to keep a proportionality constant. For simplicity, we are taking this as 1. That is, we are simply taking I is equal to a square, where the proportionality constant is taken as 1. Okay, so I is equal to a square. Now keep in mind, it's not always so easy to set the proportionality constant as 1. It depends on the importance of the proportionality constant. If the proportionality constant has some practically meaningful, practically utility attached to it, we cannot set it to 1. For example, you have studied that the resistance is proportional to the length of the conductor. The resistance is inversely proportional to the area of the conductor. So by joint variation, we can say that resistance is inversely proportional to L by A. So if I want to remove the proportionality constant, proportionality sign, what I would write? Can anyone tell me what is the constant that is used here? R is equals to rho L by A. Can you tell what is rho? R equals to rho L by A. What does rho mean?
So specific resistance.
Yeah, exactly. Resistance. I mean, it tells us that if I have a particular, piece of conductor, how much resistance it will correspond to. So here you can't blindly just call this proportionality constant as 1. Fine, but here we don't require this thing. I mean, it won't give us any meaningful thing. Rather, we have to carry it all the way. That's why here I have just called it equal to a square. Now, you all know, just now we got a is how much? This thing. Square of this one will be same thing without the square root. Now the funny thing is that a and b is not so simple. A is this, is this. So try yourself. Put the value of a here and put the value of b here. Square them and add. Just tell me what you get. This is a. This is b. Now you do a square plus b square and tell me what you're getting. Do it yourself.
So you told us a square plus b square, right, sir?
Yeah, a square plus b square. This thing where a is this, b is this. Try using some trigonometry formula. What is that? Compound angles chapter, like sine a plus b or cos a plus b or a minus b, whatever is required. Once you're done, if you're stuck somewhere and you don't feel comfortable with moving forward, you can tell me. If you're confused what to do next. Can you all do it? I mean, is there any problem with anyone doing this?
No, sir, doing.
All of you should do.
So I think I got.
What you got?
So a1 square plus a2 square plus 2a1 a2 cos kx minus 1 minus kx2.
How do you do that thing? Cos of what? I mean, what formula did you apply?
So cos a minus b.
Cos A minus B. Okay, let's wait for others. These formulas you have to remember, okay? Like multiple, submultiple angles. Trigonometric inverse is not that much required in inverse circular function, like tan inverse, cos inverse, but these formulas are required. And I repeatedly tell all my students, don't feel shy if you forgot any formula. Don't feel hesitant to consult your school books or the internet. It's better if you consult your school books, because that was the first time you learned those things, and it's always there's a strong connection between things that we have had in the past. Okay, so, and if you have any problem, you can ask me, no problem. But formula is very important. Mathematics is not all in physics, but it is to some extent a lot. So rest of you just expand this thing. You will come across some square terms. So use the first identity of trigonometry that you learned. Sine squared theta plus cos squared theta is 1. Cos square theta is 1. You will get this thing. That will simplify the situation. And there may be a complicated term which you can't simplify, like cos kx1, cos kx2, sin kx1, sin kx2, with some terms multiplied to it. Okay. So then you use the formula of cos A minus B. And the problem is that this formula, if you don't kind of mug up, there's very little chance in the exam where you can deduce it. Like that identity things, if you know that sine is perpendicular by hypotenuse, tan is perpendicular by base, at least you can retrieve the identity relation. Sine square plus cos square, sec square minus tan square. But these formula is a bit difficult. They are a bit difficult to be, recollected like that in the exam hall. Anyways, I think all of you have got it. Use the formula cos A minus B is cos A. Sorry, cos A plus B, not minus. Cos A plus B is cos A, cos B, because no negative sign will come, minus sin A, sin B. Okay. Actually, the terms that you would be getting is two AB terms. One would be 2a1 a2 cos kx1 cos kx2. Another would be 2a1 a2 sin kx1 sin kx2. And if you put them together, you will get this thing. Now see, again, this thing looks very clumsy. So I'd call this thing as delta. Delta is k x2 minus x1, right? Has everyone got this thing then after simplification?
Yes, sir.
So see, the delta thing is something that is changing, isn't it? It is related to the path difference. That is, see, it is nothing but it is the phase difference part. Why? K is what? 2 pi by lambda. path difference. So this is the phase part. So what are we getting? The resultant intensity at a point is equal to sum of the square of amplitudes of individual waves. Now see, if you understood the form relation between amplitude square and intensity, you can easily say that a1 square is the intensity of the first wave, isn't it? And a2 square you can say is the intensity of the second wave, light wave, isn't it? Are you getting it what I'm telling? a1 square should be the intensity of the first source. That is this equation I can rewrite as I1 plus I2. Had this been the only thing, then what we would have got? We would have got just simply what? An intensity which is the sum of the individual waves intensity. No, but we are getting a term which is changing constantly. That is a1 square is I1, so a1 would be root over I1. So root over I1 root over I2 cos delta. Are you getting my point? What I said, this how this equation can be written like this as well, keeping in mind that intensity is equal to square of amplitude.
Yes, sir.
So see, the thing is that the reason or the term which is responsible for intensity is this term. Without this term, you wouldn't have got, maxima, minima, dark, bright, you wouldn't have got. Had there not been this term, you would have got an intensity which is constant throughout. Why? Because I1 and I2 is constant, because A1 and A2 is constant. But no, the intensity is not constant everywhere. So that is the thing, that please note that the intensity is not simply sum of the individual intensities of the interfering waves. So this formula is this equation is very important. That's why I put it in a box. Now, some important cases that, okay, yes, you may be thinking that, sir, you're right, that this thing is something which is changing, but how is it telling us that where we will have maxima or when we will have maxima? The first case is when the intensity is bright. Sorry, when the intensity is maximum. That is, I am talking about this bright areas. Just mark my arrow. These areas are the bright areas. Okay. So how can I locate them? Or under what conditions am I supposed to get these bright bands? So the intensity is maximum. What I said, that the only term responsible is the third term. And in the third term, you see there are many things. 2 is constant, A1, A2 is constant. So the only thing that has a provision to change is cos delta. In this entire equation, only cos delta can have different values. That is, it can vary. So you can see that if the value of this, what is the maximum value of this equation? When cos delta is maximum, isn't it? You have a equation which is this plus this plus this. So how can this be maximum when the third added term is maximum? Are you getting my point?
Yes, sir, partially.
No, don't get partially, get it completely. I am telling that A1 square is constant, A2 square is constant, 2A1, A2 is also constant. Cos delta is something that can change. Do you agree with me? Why it can change?
Yes, sir.
Why? Why? Tell me why. Don't say because I'm insisting. What is delta?
X1, H2, and changes, no?
Exactly. What is delta? this thing, x2, x1. Now go back to the first diagram. This one I called x1, this one I called x2. Now I am looking at this point. So for this point, I have, say, this is 1 centimeter, this is 5 centimeter, suppose. But the difference at this one will be different. That is, x2 minus x1 is different for different points. Are you getting it? At a particular point, x1 minus x2 is constant. But what about the point just below or just above it? Are you getting it, what I'm telling?
Yes, sir.
x2 minus x1 is the path difference. Actually, the difference in the path traversed by the two interfering waves. Now, depending on the point, obviously, see here, the path difference is 0, isn't it? Here, this is at the center. This distance and this distance should be equal. Just see, S2C is always equal to S1C. So the path difference here is 0, but here it is not 0. And path difference is related to phase difference. So you all agree with me. Now I think that cos delta can change. Is it okay, Shubhayu? Or is your doubt still partial, or is it completely gone?
It's okay, sir.
Okay. Is it clear now, everyone? Okay. If it is so, then tell me what is the maximum value of cos theta? What is the maximum value cos theta can have?
+1,
+1. And the minimum?
-1.
-1, exactly. Just don't, when people think it's 0, no, it's -1. You are talking about the entire circle, complete cycle. Achha. So see, this equation can have a maximum value when cos this term is 1. If this term is 1, what we will get? A1 square plus A2 square plus 2A1 A2. What is this formula? A plus B whole square, isn't it? Are you getting it? When cos delta is 1, this thing becomes this, I becomes this one.
Yes, sir.
So that I will call I max. That is C, and this is constant for all the bright bands. Whether it is here or here, all the bands will have same, bright bands will have same intensity. Why? There is no such thing which can tell me it will change with the band. See, A1 and A2 is constant. So cos delta, cos theta 1 doesn't mean that cos theta can only be 0. We say that cos 0 is 1. Okay, that is when we are considering between the in the range of 0 to 90 degree. But in reality, cos 0 is 1, cos 2 pi is 1, cos 4 pi is 1. All the even multiples of 2 pi, for those all angle, cos theta is 1. So what I have said, that this thing is, if cos delta is 1, it doesn't mean delta is 0. Delta is in general 2m pi, where m can be 0, m can be 1, m can be 2, anything. Have you come across this formula in trigonometry? In class 11, you had that chapter called trigonometric equations.
Yes, sir. Seen somewhere.
Now, this 0 thing, m0, which then means that delta is 0, that is the central fringe, which I told this one, the central bright fringe. Here the path difference, phase difference is 0. This will always be bright. So you can get a question from here, that why is the central band is always bright? Simply write this equation, tell that the intensities for brightness, we have intensity maximum, and the condition is cos delta is 1. But that means delta is this much. Now for the central bright fringe, m has to be 0, which gives us that it is the place of maximum intensity. Okay, and this is what we said, we call this as the constructive interference. Clear, everyone, what we have done?
Yes, sir.
Now let's move to the dark bands. I mean, what about these bands, the areas of darkness? And can you feel that this thing is a bit blurred? These bright bands at the edges, they're a bit blurred. Can you feel it?
Yes, sir.
As if the camera wasn't focused while taking the picture. No, it's not that. It is about some adjustments. Okay, we'll study in the next class that these are about good observation and contrast things. Anyways, so with the same equation, now I can say that the minimum value of cos theta is -1. When it is so, I would be getting I equal to a1 square plus a2 square minus 2 a1 a2. That is a minus 2 whole square. Now here is a catch. Here is the thing. I don't know beforehand whether a1 is more or a2 is more. Are you getting my point? I don't know if I want to suppose I am representing the two waves by suppose this sorry. Suppose I want to draw the first wave y1. Suppose it is y1, the first interfering wave. And suppose I have another interfering wave y2. You can easily see that the amplitude of the second wave is more than the first, isn't it? Suppose its amplitude is a1, this is a2, so you can easily see a2 is more than a1.
Yes, sir.
So we didn't suppose that a1 is more than a2 or a2 is more than a1. That doesn't matter. Look in this expression itself, it doesn't matter. So here I have used this sign. This tilde sign means the difference. If a2 is 4, a2 is sorry, if a1 is 4, a2 is 5, the difference is, I'm taking 1, not -1. I'm just taking the modulus of the difference. Got it? So this sign means the difference. See, at the end we have squared it, so it doesn't matter whether it is minus or plus. Now likewise, cos delta equal to 1 plus 1, cos delta -1, the first value that comes to your mind is pi. Cos pi is -1. Not only that, cos 3 pi is -1, cos 5 pi is -1. Actually plus minus we should have written. That is all the odd multiples of pi will give cos delta as -1. Okay, so for all these points we'll get minimum intensity, that is we'll get the dark bands. Now you can say that, sir, you just said that for m equal to 0 we get the first bright band. You said here that for m0 we'll get the central band which is bright. But here if you put m equal to 0, what you will get? You will get, sorry, a minute, just a second. Yeah, so if you put m equal to 0 here, what you will get? Delta is pi, but here you are getting delta is 0. Are you getting it? If you put m0 here, you will get the central bright fringe. But if you get m equal to 0 here, you won't get the central bright fringe. Rather, you can get the first dark band on one side. So m equal to 0, I'll call the central bright. M equal to 1, I will call the first dark band, second dark band, and so on. But here, from here only, I will just call first dark band, second dark band, third dark band, and so on. So the areas where we have a destructive interference, that is where the waves are interfering in opposite phase, where the crest of one is matching with the trough of another, there we are getting the dark bands. Clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Now there is a special case. Like if I want to get rid of this confusion, I'm very much sure that both the light sources have the same amplitude. Suppose I have A1 and A2 same. Suppose that, let me call that A. Got it? What I'm telling? Suppose I'm using a light source which has been, bifurcated into two sources, and the two sources have same amplitude. Then you can see, if you put this condition in Imax, what you will get? A plus A whole square, that is 4a square. And here what you will get if you put a1 as a2 as a, this would be 0, isn't it? I minimum would be 0. Clear?
Yes, sir.
That means this region should be perfectly dark, not this bloody kind of thing. So this is, I would say, dark. Let's see if I have a picture. No, all are dark. I mean, I'm talking that like this picture, suppose the brights are red and this is pinkish. No, it's not like that. It is completely dark. And you can see yourself that if the dark areas are perfectly dark, then the visibility is clear. Then you can say, yeah, the first bright band is from here to here. Okay.
Sir, excuse me,
Yes.
sir.
Yes.
So, which book would be perfect for this topic, sir?
See, for this topic, I told you that book, A Ghotok.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
I also told that book is very high level. I won't tell you not to buy, but that book you have to, you can use only a part of that, not the entire book. And there is a book called, where is the book? Just a minute. The name of the book is, right, author is A.B. Gupta. Yeah, it is called Modern Optics. Modern Optics by A.B. Gupta. Now, see, A.B. Gupta's book is not a international. He is not an internationally acclaimed author. He is a locally acclaimed author, I would say rather. So, the good thing in his book is that there are lots of solved numerical problems. But I would request everyone not to rely on that book only. Just use internet or other books. But if you want to buy a book, I think A.B. Gupta's book is right now you can buy it. It depends on the budget. A.B. Gupta's book will come, I think. A. Ghotok's book is Ajay Ghotok is around 650 maybe, and A.B. Gupta when I bought it was around 400.
Okay, sir.
Okay, and A.B. Gupta's book has everything, presented. It is bit of spoon fed, and A. Ghotok's book is also good, but you have to read it thoroughly.
Okay, sir.
So it's up to you. No, these two books, I follow both books. Best is you go to the internet, but calculation you can follow from one book only. Fine. So that's the thing. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. For M0, we will get the central bright fringe, and for M1, we will get the first bright fringe, and so on. I mean, for brightness. Now, if we want to plot the intensity graphically, so you would get something like this. What you would get, you would see that intensity is maximum, then it is falling and it is becoming 0 at some points. This is for this one. Okay, I'm plotting for this graph. This equation I'm plotting under this condition. So see, where are you getting maximum intensity? 0, 2 pi, 4 pi, minus 2 pi, minus 4 pi. That is, you're getting maxima at even multiples of 2 pi, of pi, isn't it? That's what we said. M0 means 0, 1 means 2 pi, 4 pi, and so on. See, 2 pi, 4 pi, plus minus, you can write. Cos theta and cos minus theta are same. So at those points, you would get peaks, that is maximum intensity. At these points where we have odd multiples of pi, 3 pi, 5 pi, we would be getting what? Minimum intensity. Now what happens between? There is a change like this. Okay, I mean, it's not a digital signal kind of thing that you have 1 here, again you have 0. No, it's not sharply falling. So at these points, what we have maxima. At these points, we have minima. Got it? I mean, this thing you can't get on the screen. Okay, you are plotting it. We are plotting. Fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and so the maximum is 4a square. You can see here, and this is the average one. Okay, 2a square. Now it's not that I have deliberately drawn it at the middle and I've called this is 2a square. No, you can do the calculation. If you want to calculate the average intensity over the entire cycle, what is the cycle? 0 to 2 pi. For a complete wave, if you want to calculate the average intensity, you have to do this thing. Okay. Sorry, this thing maybe you can draw some analogy from center of mass. There was a formula like this. Remember this kind of formula? In center of mass. So average, what we are familiar with, what we do, we just go on adding, say, a quantity, say x from 1 to n. Say we have 100 values of x, then we divide this by 100, isn't it? That is for discrete values, where we can say, yeah, this much is 1, this is 2, but these are continuous distributions. See, the distribution is not discrete, discontinuous. So here you have to use this formula. Got it? I think you must have any, you might be facing any problem. Just do it like this, 0 to 2 pi. Is everyone okay? Why I am using the limit 0 to 2 pi?
Yes, sir.
We always want to, you can see there are some terms like half cycle, full cycle. Half cycle means 0 to pi, full cycle means 0 to 2 pi. That means how much portion of a wave are we taking into account? Got it? So this would be the numerator. Very easy. A1 square is constant, A2 square is constant. So what you will get from here? This will get A1 square 2 pi A2 square 2 pi. Okay. Any idea what is the value of cos delta from 0 to 2 pi? Any idea? I have a trick. Okay, just be lazy. Don't do the calculation. Think it this way. So cos 0 is 1, cos 90 degrees 0. So this is one cycle of cos. This is 0. This is pi by 2. Sorry, this is pi by 2. This is pi, and this would be 2 pi. Got it? From 0 to 2 pi. Are you getting it? What is the maximum value of cos in this graph, in this region? What is the maximum value of cos? I think you all got confused. Just a minute. Acha, do one thing. You just try this at home. Tomorrow we'll explain it. Okay. Okay.
So
So next day we'll do it. We're already out of time, and I feel you all are overburdened with the calculations. And next day we'll just discuss about the energy distribution thing. Okay. Okay. So we'll meet tomorrow then.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any doubt from today's class?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay. Thank you then. Let's meet tomorrow. Tomorrow or the next day. Okay.
thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.